When I'm looking in the mirror and say, hey dude, who are you? I believe it's my inner being to want to help people. Everybody don't need a hand now, but everybody can use a hand up. I want to make you feel important. Because there have been people in my life as a kid who told me I was not important, that I was never, ever going to amount to anything. I was raised in the foster care system. Bring back memories. People didn't adopt us for the love. They adopted us for the money. We lived in one foster care where the lady kept us in the basement. For how long, I don't know. My foster mother thought I was the in-house cleaning guy. If I didn't do something right, she would wake me up at 2 o'clock in the morning, give me a toothbrush and made me scrub the floors with it. So it was a hard life. And I had a brother and sister. My brother and sister are not here today, personally, but they're in my heart. Growing up, I had no inspirations. I had a teacher tell me once that blacks don't become lawyers and doctors. You guys are maids, Pullman porters. There was nobody there giving me, say, hey, you want to be a doctor? You want to be a lawyer? Because no one talked to me that way. So I was unimportant. Back in the early 60s, I got a scholarship to Kansas State. And I was a good football player back then. And I had a young lady helping me with my studies. One night we doing homework, and she wanted to be romantic. And I told her, well, we can't be romantic because we're friends. So she said, well, if we don't get romantic, I'm gonna tell everybody you raped me. And I said, you know what? I don't need to be here. So I left and I went back to my room. And my first thought was, Emmett Till was my cousin. He was murdered and lynched down in Mississippi. Later that night, I hear a lot of noise and people running and screaming. So I hid under the bed because, my heart was beating 150 miles a minute. And I'm thinking they're gonna come and they're gonna lynch me because she told them I raped her. And after all the noise subsided, I left the dorm and walked to the bus stop. And I just left it at that. I got drafted in '64. I was in an Honest John missile unit as a surveyor, artillery surveyor. If I asked you, do you know what the life expectancy of a surveyor in combat is? And most people will say they don't, but it's actually 60 seconds. But I survived that. One day, I stepped on a punchy stake, which is a bamboo pole sharpened at the end. A lot of times got poison. They push it in the ground and you step on it. It's a trap. And I stepped on it. Then I went to the medics and I told him, I said, well, I guess I get a Purple Heart. He said, we don't give Negroes Purple Hearts. Oh man, this is when I was a sergeant. When I came back from the service, I chose to be a cop with Mesa PD. I was on the SWAT team as a hostage negotiator. People in situations, barricade guy, somebody who's gonna commit suicide, I would talk to that person to put them in a win-win situation. Because I don't want you to feel like there's no hope, and that's the key. Anybody who doesn't have hope to think that things can get better, they fighting a losing battle. I like to think who I am is because of a higher being who I call God. Married 43 years to a gorgeous wife, adult son, adult daughter, and 4 grandkids, and I'm a happy man, very. I think going through all that and having been to Vietnam in my 30 years of law enforcement helped build character within me. And I like to think I got character. I want to have an effect on the people I come in contact with. I want to be a motivation for them. How's everything? How we doing? And make them aware you can survive anything as long as you believe. Be thankful for what you have, and what you don't have, don't worry about it. You're still alive. I'll put it like this. The good things, enjoy the bad things, hey, push them aside and keep going. Never, ever, ever give up. And that's been my philosophy.
Jerry was one of those victims of prejudice. That's the only way you can put it. He protected our country, served our country honorably, was wounded in Vietnam, and he has never received a Purple Heart. Politicians and our military needs to take note of this. We have an injustice happening here. It's within their power to change it and to fix it and to honor this man with his Purple Heart.
He served his country, and he served his community, where he was a policeman and then hostage negotiator. He served his country. His country now needs to serve him.
The fact that he hasn't been recognized for that simply because of his race is absolutely, it's un-American. And despite all of that, he still is a beacon of hope for so many people. I think it's the least our country could do, really, is to recognize him for the sacrifice that he's made.
We have gone through several of our political representatives to see if we can get help, and yet we have not been able to get anything done. Yet we will not rest until we have satisfaction and we see Jerry with that box showing the Purple Heart.
We've sent text messages, phone calls. We do everything we can because this man deserves a Purple Heart.